All right, everyone. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream, everyone. It should help get it out to more people. Yeah, what's up,
My
Howdy?
question to you is 22.
What'd you say? 22?
My
Oh, what's
question
your
to you is
birth year?
I do agree that people in January 6th shouldn't be pardoned. Not the ones, not the guy that prayed and then he walked out. I don't think he should be hunted down, right, by the government because he prayed and he walked out. But my question is, where was this when the George Floyd riots were happening and police stations were getting burned down and no one got prosecuted? Why?
I'm confused. I'm confused. Did the president of the United
Well,
States pardon people who engaged in violence? I'm confused.
yeah, but I'm saying
When
people
did
in
a
the riots
Democrat
didn't even get.
when did Joe Biden do that? Can you please tell me?
He didn't do that, but
He didn't do that. So then, can you please tell me why the president of the United States pardoned people who pled guilty and admitted to violently assaulting police officers on January 6th? They beat cops just because they did his bidding in terms of
because I don't think they
undermining
were
the
giving a
2020
free.
election.
I don't think they were giving a fair trial. Some of them
Okay,
were held by in for
really?
months without anything,
Well,
without any.
the people who assaulted people on camera.
Yeah, what about the other people who just were there
Wait,
and they
so
were
they
held?
assaulted police officers on camera. They admitted to it. They were convicted in a criminal
Those
court,
people,
and you think that they
yes.
weren't given legitimate processes?
No, those people were, but what about the people that were just
So they were.
walking
So then,
in
why did
without?
Donald Trump pardon those people?
I don't agree with that, but I'm saying
Okay, if you
why
don't
do you
agree with it, well, then
avoid?
why didn't you say that that's a big issue?
But it is a big issue.
It is a big
My
issue, so it's a
question is,
bigger issue than anything that the Trump or anything that the Democrats did. Then you're going to bring
well,
up, you're going to be like, oh my
really
gosh.
burning down
So
police
so
stations? That's crazy.
wait, again, there was no pardoning from the Democrat side
But
of
there was
anyone
no
who committed any violent
prosecution either.
offense.
People weren't even arrested. They weren't even. A lot of them weren't
How
even
I'm
arrested.
please explain to me how, again, from a state and local perspective, the federal government is going to act in terms of jurisdiction of that. Please
I
explain to me. What are they?
mean,
Please explain to me. Isn't that local jurisdiction? If
it is
one,
local
even if they
jurisdiction. Hold
weren't,
on.
by the way, they were arrested. But if they weren't arrested, it is state and local. It is not a federal thing. Okay,
I
I don't know
understand. I
what you're
understand.
talking about.
Storming the
So if it's
Capitol
state
is a
and
federal
local,
offense.
how can you blame the federal politics from the election?
Well, I blame
I,
the state themselves. I blame the state, and I blame the federal government by not trying to oppress the states to do
Elrian,
more
thank you so much
arrests.
for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
The
And then
people
Glenn,
that
thank
the
you so
people
much
that
for the $8. Thank you so much,
were
Australian.
were looting
Also,
stores.
I just want to let you know some of that was in 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020.
Who was president?
Okay, I understand. I know who was president. It was right before. It was right before the 2020 election happened. So Trump was president. I'm not saying that we should pardon. I'm just saying there was people in there that did nothing wrong and they were held against their will with no charge, with nothing, with not a fair trial, and then nothing came of it. And I think it sucks. I think that's why he was pardoning them because there were so many that it was very hard to know who did what. I mean, the ones that get assaulted, the ones that assaulted police officers, I understand those people should be thrown in jail. But you have so many people. When you have 1,000 people storming something or doing anything, it's very hard to pinpoint who was doing what. It was chaos, right? That's why a lot of people during the George Floyd riot were not imprisoned because there was thousands of them doing illegal things. You understand?
Okay. Okay. Again, one, under the Trump administration. Two, right?
But it
Again,
was mostly
state and
Democrats.
local jurisdiction.
But it was mostly Democrats.
Three,
That's
were
why
not pardoned by the president of the United States. Four, didn't try to overthrow the government. Five,
I
didn't
don't think they
claim
were
that
trying
they
to
wanted
overthrow the
to
government. I think they were
didn't
just
claim that they
they were
wanted to HANG
I
Mike
think they were
Pence.
stupid. I think they were stupid.
Okay.
They were
I
thinking with
think
their
that
emotions.
I think those are pretty big distinctions, right?
Oh, is he
Yeah.
comparing the BLM protest riots to?
Yeah. He's
Wait,
Oh,
why? Wait. Hold on.
the
Dean, why is that bad?
yeah, because when I bring up January 6th, I'm referencing Donald Trump trying to overthrow the government. I'm referencing Donald Trump trying to
Dean, you got
install
to
fake
change your name,
votes.
bro.
It's
Dean.
the only backup account I have left. Okay, it
Wait,
is
you got
my
taken down again? Why?
well because the deep state wants to silence me, sir, because I'm spreading the truth. Thank you so much. It's the only account I have left. It's my MAGA troll account. It's actually just I'm being apolitical, guys. I'm just a party of common sense now. Apolitical. What can I say? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, back to you. So
Yeah.
when I bring up January 6th, I'm talking about the fact that Donald Trump tried to overthrow our government and rig the outcome of an election. And I never really understand when people bring up the BLM protests to be compared to this because a lot of the riots were actually inspired by non-left leaning groups such as what's the name of like that one white supremacist like group in America. The Proud Boys. A lot of the riots were inspired by the Proud Boys.
Really? I
And
thought it was the
then
BLM movement.
No, yeah, a lot of the riots at BLM protests were inspired by the Proud Boys and other groups. And then two, those weren't like inspired by the president.
So why were they taking a knee for George Floyd while they were looting stores? If they were by the K.
What's that?
Why were they taking a knee in memory of George Floyd while they were looting stores?
Because it was wrong to murder him.
It was the BLM movement.
Wait, I have a question. Was it wrong for Derek Chauvin to murder George Floyd?
I think it was wrong. Correct.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay.
But do you think the answer?
So then, can you understand that someone?
Do you understand that's the same point that people in their mind thought that the election was corrupt, right? So that's what it is.
What?
It's not. People thought the election was corrupt.
Do you think that Donald Trump thought the election was stolen?
I think he thinks that. Right?
And in your mind, that justified him trying to overturn the results of the election?
I don't think he told him to go unalive people.
No,
think it's
Donald
$2.
Trump. He specifically
I
installed
know,
fake
fight like
slates of
hell.
electorates in 7 different key swing states, and he told them to send fake votes to Congress. Then he pressured his VP Mike Pence into signing them into law as real.
Okay.
Like, we do understand that when I'm referencing January 6th, I'm talking about the fact that Donald Trump tried to steal the election from Biden. How do you feel about that?
I believe that he was probably shocked that he lost, right?
Okay, do you care at all that there hasn't been a larger internal attack on our democracy since the Civil War?
What do you mean by attack?
There's never been a bigger attempt to thwart the functions of the American democracy.
Yeah, I know. The
internally from
Capitol was
Civil
pretty
War.
embarrassing, but that was my whole point. My whole point is that there was the people that do bad things, right? The people that did storm, right? They should get prosecuted. But what about the people who are also held against their will in custody with no trial, with no charges, and they just walked in there and a guy prayed and walked out?
So I'm bringing up the fact that Donald Trump tried to rig the outcome of 2020, and your response to me bringing up this fact is to talk about January 6 rioters that were held for processing. These two things have no relation to each other. Like, let me just ask you this question:
Because I don't believe everyone was guilty.
Would you ever support a president that also has no relation to what I brought up? Would you ever support a president that tried to rig and steal the outcome of a presidential election?
I don't. What do you mean when he was phone calling the governor to get more votes?
No, I just want you to answer my question. Would you ever support any president that tried to rig and steal the outcome of an election? I want to make it clear. My answer is no. What about you, Parker?
I don't think so.
No, okay, so you want it? You would not.
But I
support
don't
the president?
I don't fully support him 100%.
So I just want to know. We're not even talking about Trump, bro. Stop engaging in brain rot. Would you ever support a president under any conditions that tried to rig and steal the outcome of a presidential election?
No.
No. Donald Trump tried to rig and steal the outcome of the 2020 presidential election.
But what if he was misled that it was maybe it was like
So
fake?
you're giving me conditions that you'll still support him, contradicting your
No,
answer.
I'm not supporting. I'm just saying. Do you really know what's going
So
on? in his
do you
head?
still support Donald Trump even though he tried to rig and steal the outcome of the 2020 election?
I think he was better than Biden.
That's not what I. Oh my God!
I don't
I'm
support
asking,
him, bro.
dude.
I don't
You
support
are
him.
fucking. I am gonna get banned. Listen,
I got it, Dean. Don't
Don't,
worry.
no,
Listen.
don't do what you did
no,
to Andrew
my,
Wilson.
my
Come on.
my question.
I know Andrew
was,
Wilson gets under your skin because he
My-
destroyed.
Wendy, thank you for the
question
$10.
was-
Thank you, Wendy.
Don't. I know Andrew
Your-
Wilson
your-
gets to you, but it's
Your
okay,
your
don't.
opinion's invalidated because of how stupid you are. Nothing that you
I'm
say
not stupid.
matters.
I'm just saying I don't support him.
So you don't support the president. So you didn't.
Not.
So,
I mean,
so you regret your
I
vote.
support. I mean, I think he does some things right, but I don't think he's a.
So
good
you
human.
regret. So you regret your vote, right?
What?
So you regret your vote since you don't support his presidency.
Regret? Maybe. I don't know because I don't know what if Kamala would have done things differently.
Come on.
Can you name
Kamala,
something that Kamala Harris did worse than trying to rig and steal the outcome? Of
I have
the
a question. I have a question for you. Who was a better
Yeah,
vice
I have a
president,
question.
Joe Biden or
election?
Kamala?
Got it.
Kamala.
So, really?
Kamala was absolutely a better president.
Okay. What did she do? 'Cause I'm not really
Wait, as
informed.
vice president, she had the
Yeah.
most tie-breaking votes of any vice president ever, including the Inflation Reduction Act. Right? She also influenced to get passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act. Right?
Okay.
I think that's a historic vice presidency. I think she did the most of any vice president ever. I think she was incredibly qualified for that position, way more qualified than Donald Trump or even Joe Biden, to be honest. I think that
Didn't Joe Biden
I would
win
pick her
America?
over Joe Biden. I would pick her over Donald Trump any day of the week.
You'd pick her over Joe Biden? Really?
Absolutely. The fuck? What?
Okay, I
Yeah,
think Joe
I would
Biden when
have.
he was
You wouldn't
younger.
pick Kamala Harris over Joe
I
Biden?
think Joe Biden when he was younger and he was, his brain was not aging and decaying. I think he was probably would be a better candidate than Donald Trump right now.
I would still take Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So why is Biden a better candidate than Harris?
What?
Why is Biden a better candidate than Harris?
I think he did more for the country than she probably ever would have in 40 years.
Say that again. I'm confused.
Yeah, what?
Well, the economy was pretty good under Joe Biden. If COVID never happened, I think that the economy would have done very well under Joe Biden.
Okay. So so do you think that Joe Biden's better for the economy than Donald Trump?
Maybe if he was younger, yes.
What?
Okay, what? Okay, can you tell me what Joe Biden would have done if he was younger that would have been better for the economy?
Didn't he have more jobs open than Donald
Okay,
Trump?
but no, but what about him being younger would have made it better?
Where?
Well, Obama started a lot of jobs.
I'm
and I
asking
think
you about Joe Biden.
Obamacare was very
Wait, you're saying that a younger version of Joe Biden would have literally been better for the economy. That was unironically Kamala Harris. In the context of economic policy,
But
Kamala
I
Harris
think
said
she
that-
lost
Just
because
listen.
people
I'm going to
didn't
go ahead and
know.
ask you to go ahead and sit down, shut up, and listen to me while I speak. In the context of economic policy, Kamala Harris said that she would have not have changed a thing that Joe Biden did. Alongside, the only difference between their policy was that hers was more expansive and even better for members of the low and the middle class, without including some things that the right really doesn't like, such as unrealized capital gains tax. So seemingly, you're saying that Joe Biden, but younger, would have been better for the economy. So I don't even have somebody that agreed with this policy, helped to influence it to get passed, but held the same policy plus some in very good directions. That's also younger, and her name's Kamala Harris. So does this mean
Yeah, but I don't think she had
Kamala
experience.
Harris was better for the economy?
I don't
than
think she had
Joe Biden?
experience. You know,
It doesn't matter because her.
You don't think she had
policies that was gonna
experience? What
influ-
experience?
Influence to get passed was significantly better. Don't you think that Donald Trump was good for the economy in his first term?
oh, of course.
Did he have any experience in any public office ever?
No, he didn't. You're correct.
Yeah, see what
you
I
have
see.
good people
the fuck
around
I
you.
mean? Jesus
Exactly.
Christ.
Good people around you. I mean, I think that matters too.
Wait, you don't think he had good people around him? Remember Bill Barr, right? All the people that he
I know,
kicked
I know.
Mike
off.
Pence, Mike
Mike
Pence.
Pence.
Who knows what happens
He
behind
kicked
the
off
Steve
all of
Bannon.
those.
Who knows
Steve
what
Bannon,
happens behind the door?
McMaster, like he kicked off all of these people, right? And he said that they were all bad around him, but apparently they were good.
I'm saying, like, obviously, there's things happen behind closed doors where Trump could change his mind about people, just like people change their mind about.
Wait, so
Trump.
they weren't good people around him.
Well, I mean,
So
no
they were bad
one
people
really
around him.
disliked Trump before he ran for candidacy in 2016, right? And he made a bunch
No,
of-
false.
Really?
Tupac actually really fucking hated
There-
Trump when he was alive.
Maybe him, but there was no, R-word allegations ever against him or any like sexual conduct or any stuff like that.
Yes, there
Also-
were.
also false.
There also
But in
were.
2016, there was a bunch of women, and they all been proven that most of them.
Wait. There were women that came out prior to that. You're just like literally lying.
Yeah, but what about the ones that lied about him?
What? Who?
There
Name
were
name one woman that ever lied about Donald Trump.
So none of them lied. I'm pretty sure there was.
Name
lot of
one.
cases.
I want you to name
Didn't
one.
like 60 women come out against like.
I
in
want. And I want.
2016?
See,
I don't know.
the thing is,
I'm
I want
just
you
saying.
to. I want you to name
This
a
happened
single.
like- this
can you
happened
name?
like
Can you
8
name a
years
sing?
ago.
Can you name a single one?
No, but didn't this happen like in 80 years ago? I don't remember.
80 years ago? Yeah, because Trump is 80 years old.
Eight.
8 years ago.
So you guys think he's just a? Why don't you guys like Trump? That's my question.
Why don't we like Trump? He's held civilly liable of forcefully penetrating E. Jean Carroll's vagina against her will. He tried to undermine the 2020 election by literally
Yeah.
trying to get multiple. Sorry, like my brain's not even functioning properly. He sent false slates of electors, right, to electoral college to cast Trump votes, right, when he didn't specifically win. He also called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because he didn't like the election results. And then also, right, he literally bragged about walking the changing rooms of girls' Miss USA because he quote unquote owns the place to inspect them without their consent. He said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. His climate change policy was literally non-existent. He thinks the climate's going to start cooling, and that science just doesn't
Yeah, I
know it
know.
yet. So he's anti-science.
Yeah.
He's a delusional maniac that you want to give power to the presidency so that he can threaten our allies
Me?
to literally annex them.
Me?
Yeah,
Don't
you
blame the
voted
government?
for
Don't
him.
blame-
You
hold on,
wanted
don't
you wanted
blame
him to be
the-
president of the United States so we could
Hold on,
threaten
hold
our
on. Why do
allies
you
with
blame the
annexing
people?
them.
Why do you blame? Why don't you blame the government who allows felons to run for president?
Why did okay? Why don't I blame both
Well,
the
I'm just
structure?
saying.
Why don't I blame both the legal structure and the people who voted for him?
I mean, apparently, if the
Why can't I blame both?
You can blame both, but it feels like you only.
Okay,
focus
so
on
I
the
do
people.
blame you.
Yeah, you're to blame,
you
man. I
blame the
blame you.
people, but he shouldn't even be able to run in the first place, right?
Oh wait! You think that Trump should have been disqualified from running for the presidency?
Yeah, he does. He literally does.
Is that something you
I
think?
if it's 100% true, I think
I
there's
just
a
want a yes or
chance.
no. Should Donald Trump be disqualified? Yes or no?
I think anyone, yeah. I think Bush should have done too when he sent us
Okay.
to
So here's my
Iraq.
question.
I think
If
Bush
Kamala
should have done
Harris,
too.
listen,
Come on.
stop fucking talking. I'm not holding on. I'm asking you a question. Is there anything that Kamala Harris did that should have disqualified her from running?
I don't know. I mean, with the fact that she said that with the stroke of a pen, she can just send someone to prison because their kids didn't go to school. I think that's a little bit crazy, but again, it's
Never
whatever.
happened.
Never
Never
happened.
happened?
Please tell
There's
me,
clips
did
of
Kamala Harris do? Shut up. He's pivoting. Did Kamala Harris do anything that should have disqualified her from running for the presidency?
I don't know I don't know much about it. I don't think.
So is there anything that you know of that she's done that should disqualify her?
No, do you?
Okay, so you do know of things that should disqualify Trump, but you don't know of things that should disqualify Kamala Harris.
I don't know if the
literally
things against Trump
means
are
that
100%
according to
correct.
you, that you think that Kamala Harris was the better candidate.
Policy wise, I don't know. I'm not.
Can you
I'm
name
not,
one of Trump's policies?
the tax cut on the middle class?
That's not one of his
No,
policies.
no. I
Name one
want
of
a
his
name of the
policies.
policy. Name one of Trump's policies ever.
I don't really know any.
So then, how could you say that he's better when discussing policy?
He's
Are
better
you
in
real?
terms of policy, but I actually don't know any of his policies.
I just thought what he did for the country was good in his first term.
Dude,
I think
what did he
this is-
do? Name one thing he did.
Okay, so the tax cut for the middle class.
Can you name one provision within the
started a
tax
lot of
cuts?
jobs.
I'll
He-
tell you what the
he-
name is. The Tax Cuts and
he put
Jobs
that on
Act.
immigration.
Can you tell me one provision within the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act?
What do you mean? No,
No, you can't.
but you don't think he added a tax cut in 2016 for the middle class?
And no, it wasn't 2016 because he wasn't
Well,
president.
2017 or 2018 was one of those, right? Or was it 2019?
It was a tax cut, but most of the tax cuts went to the people who are rich.
So why was it for the middle class if it went to the people who were rich?
There were some for the middle class, but most went to people who are rich.
What about him saying that people that make less than 150,000 shouldn't pay taxes?
It's one of the
You
best.
can't fund that.
It's one of the best policy proposals in modern American history.
But you don't think he's-
If you
unfair
could
to the
fund it.
American, just let me talk real quick, guys. It is unironically one of the best policy proposals of modern American history. Unfortunate, it will never happen.
Why? I think I agree with you, but why?
Why? We haven't seen Congress take any action. They've already the House Republicans have already given their budget for just reinstanciation of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Plus, no way to fund
But
it,
if
especially with the tax cuts for the rich.
it does go through, do you think he gains a little bit of respect? Although you don't think he's a good person.
I mean, because I think in order to have my respect, you got to be a good person. But I'll absolutely say it is literally the best.
But no one's
best
really
in
all
modern
good,
American
right?
history.
No one's really all good, right?
Yeah, but nobody's nearly as bad as Trump is. So
I don't know, man.
It's also not possible to do. Okay.
I think Bush going to Iraq and lied about
I think he was worse than Bush.
really,
Yeah.
even though he's most likely the reason why we destabilize the Middle East.
Dude, Donald Trump wants to personally go into the
I
Gaza
know,
Strip
but what if-
and ethnically cleanse 2.1 million people. Not to mention,
you think he's lying
that
about
the exclusion of Palestine from the Abraham Accords was a big motivating factor for Israel's ethnic cleansing of Palestine.
Right.
Not to mention his bombing Yemen. And the 432% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East, when contrasted with the Obama administration, I absolutely do believe that Donald Trump is worse than Bush. All things considered, significantly worse than Bush.
I do agree he
Not to
should have
mention
gotten
the
involved.
fact that Bush didn't try to silence the voice and the vote of every American in his candidacy for the presidency.
I think he was probably paranoid in 2020, like that, maybe because in 2016 we thought that Russia interfered with our,
It did. Oh, you
it
just
did,
made
it
a Freudian sloop. They
Yeah,
did,
it
and
did.
they
So-
interfered in 2020, and
But
they
I think-
interfered in 2024, all trying to get who elected? Trump.
they were trying to elect Trump. Why?
Why? Probably because we have leaked Kremlin documents where Putin calls them easy to manipulate.
Really?
Really?
I think any president, when he compared to Putin, could be easily to be manipulated. He was an assassin. Like
Wait,
Putin
Putin
has only said this about Trump.
Putin's been in power for 2 decades.
I have a question. Do you like Putin?
No, I don't. There's a lot of
Do you
Europeans who
think
respect him.
Putin should have less or more power?
I don't think he should be president.
Do you think he should have less? So you think he should have less power?
I think he's probably worse than Trump, even in your mind.
Okay, so you agree that he should have less power, right?
Way less power. I don't think she
Okay,
should be
okay,
a candidate.
okay. So what candidate gives Putin more power?
I mean, who between who? Between like Trump or
Between
Kamala?
Trump
Trump and
and
Kamala
Kamala Harris.
I don't know. I don't think he's afraid of both of them. Any of them.
No, I'm
Dude,
asking which one gives Trump or Putin more power. Sorry, it's really hard. It's really easy to like mistake the two. MJ, thank you for the $5. Thank you.
I really hope that you wait 1 second before you answer. I really hope that you answer honestly.
I am. So I think Trump, if he's able to manipulate someone, if he manipulates Trump, I feel like Trump most likely, have more power if he aligns with.
Look at this.
Okay, so
far we've
Trump
been
will give
able-
him more power. So then you agree that Trump's policy on Russia is worse.
Yeah, but again, I don't
Can
think
you
that
name us one way that Donald Trump is better than Kamala Harris? Like seriously? Because we've been able to name like 5 that he's worse, and you've actually agreed. So
Curtis, thank you for
Well,
the
I
$5.
always
Thank
better
you.
like the plans that he has.
What?
His tackle on immigration was good. I don't think it was approached the right way.
you're
Right?
saying that Donald Trump was better for immigration than Kamala?
I mean,
Harris?
Dean, do you believe that 10 million people?
That's not what I asked. I want you to.
hold on.
I just want. No. I'm not holding on because I asked you a question. Name one way that Donald Trump is better than Kamala Harris.
Besides immigration, or you?
No, you could say immigration. Do you think that immigration?
I don't think he
Okay.
approached it right. I don't think the way he's doing it is
Okay,
right at
so
all.
you think that Donald Trump is better for immigration than Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I think he's on praise to deport more people than anyone, but I don't think it's done the right way.
Okay, so why do you think that Donald Trump is better for immigration than Kamala Harris?
I think he tackles the issue. The
me
open border
specifics.
was an issue, right?
Give me specifics. Why is Donald Trump better for immigration than Kamala Harris?
Because I think he's tackling down people who come here illegally, right? And he's trying to deport them, even though I don't agree.
Deporting. So
Yeah.
I think that this is one of the things that makes him worse. I think that mass deportation is a very bad plan, not only
Okay.
for the humanitarian
You're right.
needs of the migrants and the family members of said migrants,
Yep.
but also for the American economy. A mass deportation, the mass deported. Oh my god!
Dude.
I've heard
Dude.
Trump supporters say it wrong so many times. How
Josh,
do I
thank you
pronounce
$2.
it?
It's because your name is under Connor MAGA.
Yeah,
that-
I'm gonna just gonna be humble here.
I'm not trolling. Those are literally like the ways that we've heard MAGA supporters say it. So I think
I
it's
know.
I think it's the name.
No, it's that I've talked to so many Trump supporters and they all pronounce it wrong. So then I've started to pronounce it wrong. Mass deportation.
Deportation, mass deportation.
Oh, there we go. Mass deportation. Thank you. I'm telling you, I hear it pronounced like 10 different ways every day that I just get like literally gaslit into thinking it's pronounced the way it isn't. I'm just, I'm
Try again.
humble.
Try again. Say it one more time.
Mass deportation.
Okay, you're good. Deportation.
There we go. So mass deportation is wrong for those humanitarian concerns, but also for economic concerns. It's very expensive, not to mention that undocumented migrants have proven to be very good for our economy.
I believe that, but I also
Deportation
believe
sounds
that,
like they're trying to say abortion. You
I
know?
believe that if you have illegal people living here, the house market goes up, right? The demand for house pricing goes up, so then you have people not being able to own house, right? I don't believe in a mass deportation as it it actually damages the agriculture like it's done right now. But
Wait,
I
doesn't
believe
legal migration also make house prices increase? Should we stop that too?
you're right. But when you have so
What,
many
what about
illegals,
tourism?
demand-
What about increasing the
Hold on,
population size?
Dean. But if they're coming here illegal, doesn't demand go up faster? Obviously, demand goes. I mean, obviously, demand goes up in the first
Well,
place.
yeah. So then you're saying legal immigration actually causes the housing prices to go up more.
But illegal
which-
immigration.
Wait. Which then you're then arguing that people should come here illegally to benefit the economy.
Well, I also
Yeah,
believe
because it would have
BlackRock
less
should own
upward
every
pressure
house.
on prices.
I believe BlackRock should own all these houses too. I also believe in that. But I agree with you. I mean, I think legal deportation. Legal.
You think Donald
legal-
Trump's going to limit the? You think Donald Trump's going to limit the power of corporations more than
Of course,
Kamala Harris
not.
would?
I don't think, bro. She wouldn't be able to either, bro. Come on, man.
Wait, so you think Kamala Harris
on.
would give more power to corporations than Donald Trump?
You don't think so?
No.
By
No,
what?
clearly,
By what?
Donald Trump is better for corporations.
Why?
Kamala Harris is better for working class
Well,
people.
what was her plan on tackling that big corporation? What was she gonna do about it?
Dude, she literally supported like he wanted to drop it to 15. She supported 28%. She literally supported holy shit, what is that? Like a 13 percentage difference in the corporate taxation rate Not to mention that his tax cuts disproportionately help the ultra wealthy and corporations compared to hers, who only help 100 million American workers in the low and the middle class. Like,
By
there's a
increasing it
reason.
on income over $400,000 a year. So she increases taxes on the high working, high income people, to then
Mhm.
decrease taxes on lower income people. Whereas Donald Trump decreases taxes on rich
But do you think
people
that's hard
and
to?
increases taxes on low and middle class
Yeah,
people.
but I'm saying
Yeah.
just because she has a plan doesn't mean that it will most likely go through Congress or go
No, it
through.
would most likely. Certainly it
Wait,
would.
wait. Who would you rather the president be fighting for tax cuts for the rich by increasing taxes on the poor, or would you rather
No,
them be voting for tax cuts for the poor by literally increasing taxes on the rich?
I mean I believe it's wrong to tax the poor or the middle class more than.
Oh, that's what Donald Trump's advocating for.
But hold on. Don't rich people pay more taxes than
Yeah,
the
and
middle
if
class?
he cuts income tax, he's cutting a progressive tax system that makes rich people pay
I
more,
already I
and
already
he's replacing
I
it
live in
with a
Florida.
regressive tax structure,
We
tariffs,
already don't
that
have
makes the
income
people in
tax
the low and middle class pay more.
in Florida. You know we don't have federal tax, right? Or is it income tax? I
We're
don't know.
talking about state tax.
Yeah. So that
You
also
do have
benefits
federal
people.
income tax.
Yeah, but that also benefits people that live in Florida, and that was before he was even president.
No, because you just don't even like understand this. But
They have less
it
social
depends.
services because they can't fund those things. They also have other types of taxes that are more
Like
regressive, whether it be
property.
sales and property.
Well,
You're right. You're right. But
the big thing is property tax, and this ends up like
yeah,
typically like hurting people that make
of
less
course.
money more,
Exactly.
because like you could have like over $2,000, multiple thousands of dollars a year that you're paying in property tax in a lot of these states,
It's
which is
regressive.
more than what you'd pay.
I believe that's a good policy, and if she
Good.
was gonna do that, I believe that's
It's a
really
good
good.
policy to
Bro,
tax people in the low and middle class more and to have less taxes on rich people. That's what you're saying.
really?
No, I'm saying her. Like, if she was gonna tackle down rich people, I believe that's a good thing. You know,
So
that-
you think that
okay,
our
well, then-
economic policy is better? You think that our character is better? You think that our stance towards the Middle
I
East is
don't
better?
know her character.
think?
Maybe I don't know a lot about her. I gotta,
When
you
do you
know.
think of it? $10. Okay,
Dude.
can you please explain to me what you think about her character is worse than Donald Trump?
Real.
Donald fucking Trump. Don't even get me started.
Like, what's worse? I don't know much about her. You know, I just
So then how could you argue that her character is worse if you don't know her character? Please.
because I believe the power she had before she was, you know, she ran for president, district attorney, right? And I just feel like I don't know, man. You hear some of the
Yeah,
stuff she said.
you've searched that. I
But
don't
you-
know a whole lot. And
But do you
and
but do you
it's
believe
true.
it's okay to send their parents to prison because their kids don't go to school?
Oh my gosh! By the
actually,
way,
yeah, I
I
do.
just want to say,
And MJ,
Sarah, thank you so much for the 119 NOK. They said just a Norwegian recovering from emergency back surgery which cost 25 USD. Being grateful for our healthcare system.
Wow.
That
So-
imagine if we had that in the U.S. Seriously.
brother, the
So I'd
healthcare
like- I'd
system
like
has
to-
been it's been done.
I'd like
It was
to
it's been
clarify.
bad for decades, bro. The
Wait,
Republican.
I
Because
have a question.
Republicans.
I have a question. Kamala Harris had some healthcare policy. She wanted to limit the amount that any American citizen could pay out of pocket for private pharmaceuticals, and she wanted to grant Medicare greater renegotiability with
Great,
private
Medicare is good.
pharmaceuticals, meaning that she wanted to make the current system so we have slightly better than they are today. What was Donald Trump's healthcare policy?
Did he have one?
No, he didn't. So
Yeah.
another area where Kamala Harris clears.
Yeah.
In response to your question, yes, I literally do think it is child neglect. If you are like not incentivizing your child to go to school or like letting them not go to school, I think that's.
But what if they
I
can?
think that
What if they're in the
reaps.
hospital for a week?
Great,
then the
but you're
policy
asking
doesn't
good
apply
follow-up
to you.
questions. Yeah, you're asking great follow-up questions, but I'm still like explaining the fact
Yeah,
that
okay.
if a parent willfully and intentionally allows a child to like not go to school, that's setting them up for a future success of failure and bad habits that could like significantly reduce their quality of life. I think that's comparable to a parent letting their child do drugs.
I agree with that. I mean, I agree that but I believe there was a lot of parents who their kids were not able to because they were sick or they were injured, and the
Yeah,
parent
and
didn't have time to
yeah.
report that
Yeah, they're
to the school,
Yeah,
right?
they're
So
innocent. Yeah, they're innocent.
okay, what about let's see, because I don't think she's a bad person. What about
But do you think that Donald Trump's a bad person?
I think he has a lot of bad qualities, but
Not what I asked. I asked if he's a bad person.
maybe I don't know.
Maybe. What do you mean? Maybe. I'm sorry. What?
What do you mean? Like I don't know the man. I didn't sit down with him and have a cup of coffee.
You don't have to sit down with them, dude.
Based-
You
based on-
literally.
based on the
I have a question. I have a
allegations.
question. If someone went up to like a random jail, right? Went up to people who are violent offenders who beat police officers and let them out of the jail and release them into our society, would you say that's a good person?
No.
No, that's what Donald Trump did. He literally went up to jail cells and released
But
violent
already
criminals who
exposed
beat
it.
cops right into the country. That's what he did.
But there were
So
so
if you
many
say
more
that's
who
not
did
a good
nothing
person,
wrong,
well, then
bro.
obviously Donald Trump's not a good person. That's just
Why are
one
you not
thing.
advocating
Not
for
to
the
mention
people
him
who
being
did
held
nothing
civilly
wrong?
liable of sexual abuse. Not to mention him trying to undermine our democracy. Not to mention him saying he had sex account with his daughter, saying he had a Howard Stern, calling his daughter a piece of ass, saying he dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, bragging about walking into the changing rooms of girls in mischievous because he quote unquote owns the place to inspect them without their consent. All of those different things we can bring up about Donald Trump, about his horrible character. Yeah, you won't mention or acknowledge that he is a horrible character.
I mean, I believe he has a lot of bad qualities, but a lot of
You
I believe that he shouldn't have said the thing he should say. Like a lot of men do that. A lot of men say stupid stuff all the time. It doesn't mean they're a bad
wait.
person.
A lot of men doing it is not justification.
I mean, the congresswoman one. How old was the daughter? I don't know. You said the congresswoman's daughter. How old was she? That he wants a piece of that ass. You said. Is that what you said?
Howard Stern called Donald Trump's daughter a piece of ass, and Donald Trump said, "Yeah."
Oh yeah. That's a little weird. That's a little weird.
A
I
little,
understand.
just a little.
That's weird. That's weird. There's one thing to call your daughter beautiful, but what if he was joking? Like that's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, are you serious? You sick piece
Dude,
of
you
shit.
sick
I hope that
Literally.
you're never a dad. Like
Listen,
Really?
seriously,
So
this is
why-
like there's no way you
yeah,
unironically
just
said
real
that.
quick, just real quick, Mr. Tic Tac. Like I hope that like you never have kids. I hope that you're infertile. I hope that you just can't reproduce. The reason why I hope that you're these things.
You're such a good person for wishing on someone.
Oh, I am a good person for saying this. I'm
Really?
a great
Based
per-
on
yeah,
what?
no, and I can tell you why.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that you think it's okay for fathers.
I never
to
said
joke.
it's okay.
No,
Never said it's okay.
Oh no, yes you did. Yes,
You
you
could
did.
have been
Wait,
joking.
now, are you gonna keep interrupting me while I'm cooking?
You're not cooking.
Well, only if you interrupt me. I mean, so could you just sit down and shut the hell up? That work, bud? Thank you. There you go. So I'm gonna go back to what I said. So yeah, I do think I'm a good guy for saying that I wish that you're infertile or that you couldn't have the ability to reproduce. The reason that I say that I think I'm a good guy for saying that is because you're essentially like excusing the sexualization of our youth at the hands of one's father by just merely making it a joke. And I mean, like, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that like 99% of people, like fathers watching this live, regardless of their political affiliation, are gonna agree with me here. And this isn't even something that they excuse in Trump. It's just something that they willfully fucking ignore, which is a whole other problem altogether, which is another form of excusal. But you understand what I'm saying here. Just to like say, oh well, what if that old man sexualizing his own biological daughter that he's raising under his roof is just joking by saying, oh yeah, like Howard Stern gets a piece of your ass, another adult male. Like it's just so gross. It just excuses the behavior, it normalizes the behavior. It makes it happen to a higher degree than it did before. We should be absolutely condemning the sexualization of minors, especially young girls,
Of
at
course.
the hands of their fathers. And when you say like, oh, what if he was joking? You're doing.
I'm
the
asking a
opposite of that.
question. You just went berserk. So I was asking a question. Couldn't he be joking? There's bad jokes in the world, right? I mean,
Dude, you saying that's an acceptable joke is the
it's
exact
not.
issue that we're
Did I
talking
ever
about.
say accept? I said, what if he was joking? I know it doesn't.
Does that change anything?
No, it doesn't really change.
No.
much.
Okay, so then why are you saying that?
Because people make messed up jokes all the time. Doesn't
Oh,
mean
you're
you
just saying that it
see
happens all the time. Therefore, you
Happens
don't
all the time,
care?
therefore it's okay. Is that
I'm
your
not
view?
saying it's okay, but you acting
So
like
then,
someone,
what's the point?
Okay.
What
the
what
point
are
is,
you
do you
arguing?
think someone taking something seriously and making a joke about it is the same thing, but it's not. To this
Wait,
situation,
tell us what is the relevant difference.
the relevant difference. So I could be joking with my friends because I'm comfortable with them about something.
You think
that's
it's okay to make those jokes about children? About
No, I don't think
your,
about. I
your
don't
children?
think.
So then, why does it matter if it's a joke or not?
Why does it matter if it's a joke? Because one, you're serious, and one, you actually believe it to a content with it's part of your personality. Like you actually believe that, right? Like me saying,
I'm confused. What's
like
the
me
relevant
saying, I
distinction?
hope
They're
you
both
die in a
just as
fire, and
wrong.
then you're joking, but then I actually mean it, and I'm angry. It's two complete different things.
Yeah, but what makes them completely different is like one is significantly worse than another.
Yeah, but that was my whole point. That's I
Okay,
wasn't
so then you're saying it means that
Yeah.
it is not as wrong. It's not as wrong if he was joking.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So then you're excusing it by saying that it's a joke. You silly,
Do you think
silly
Howard
boy.
Stern thought he was joking?
You silly
I mean,
fucking goose.
Do you think?
Why
Howard
are you
Stern-
being such a silly goose? You're literally saying that it's not as bad as you're painting it to be because
Why are you
it's
calling me a silly
probably
goose,
a joke.
bro?
Because you're
Come on.
objectively acting like a silly little goose, sir. So
I'm not acting like it. I'm just.
yes, you
I'm
fucking
just-
are. You're acting like a silly little
Did
goose.
Howard Stern thought it was a joke?
You are going to listen to what I'm saying. So specifically speaking, we tell you the fact that Donald Trump sexualized his own daughter. And you're like, oh, that's pretty bad. But then you're like, oh, what if it was a joke? And then we're like, oh, well, I don't think it's okay to excuse those actions as it perpetuates those actions happening to a higher degree. Then you're like, oh, yes, I absolutely agree with you. There's no relevant distinction. It'd still be very, very wrong if it was a joke. But then we ask you and pressure you into telling us the relevant distinction and why you even brought it up in the first place. And then we reduce you down to saying, well, if it was a joke, it wasn't as bad. So you do literally think that it can be excused to a higher degree because you think it's a joke joke compared to if it wasn't a joke. Not to mention you have no fucking evidence it was a joke. This is just another fucking thing that shitty men do, not only on the internet, but in person. You find any possible way to excuse the actions of a shitty man towards women, especially young ones, and by like calling them jokes, by saying that she deserved it, by like using all of these various
I never said
excuses,
anyone
and
should
like
deserve it.
holy fucking shit. If
You gotta
you
get
could
out of the
see,
TikTok
Sandra
bubble,
thing of the
brother.
galaxy.
You gotta get out of the
By the way,
TikTok
Tic Tac. By the way, you have now unlocked a new phrase, silly goose. That's a new thing now.
Well, I'm
that's
glad
we have
asked.
we have goose emojis. Silly goose. That's fucking hilarious, Dean. That
I
is
mean,
actually,
you're
dude, that just
you're
reminded. I'm
little
gonna use that
followers
so
don't
much
really
now.
bother, man. I mean, I don't really care. Outside of TikTok,
Plausible.
no,
Thank you
really-
so much for the 10 Canadian.
outside
Thank you
of
so much. I really
TikTok-
appreciate it. Thank you
outside
so
of
much.
TikTok, you guys don't get respected that much, so it doesn't really
Wait, what do
matter.
you mean?
Brother? Andrew Wilson is the reason why I look at you guys.
Are you
and
saying
I
are you
think-
saying on YouTube?
I mean, not only on YouTube. Well, do you think people on TikTok are more likely to be propaganda than people on YouTube?
Mr. Baggins, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. I don't think there's much of a difference.
There is. There is a lot of brain rot
you-
on TikTok. That it's
You
not
don't
on
think there's
YouTube.
brain rot on YouTube?
Of course, but not that much. It's a way
What?
more
Have
sophisticated
you been
content.
on YouTube?
So,
Of course I've been.
Wait,
I've
this
seen-
guy's
I've seen-
response to like
dude,
being okay with the
I've seen-
sexualization
I've
of little
seen-
girls
I've
is
seen Dean
Andrew
put a
Wilson.
blindfold on, man, talking to Andrew Wilson, bro. And
Yeah, he got clowned.
dude, you got clowned outside of TikTok.
That's really funny. That's absolutely
You look
funny.
at the comments
wait.
to
I'm
people
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and just fact check your claim real quick. So the one question I asked him in the 30-minute conversation I had with him was, "What is
Dean,
one?"
you got harassment and bullying flag.
That's okay. What is one reason why promiscuity is wrong? What was his reason that he gave me?
What was the reason you gave him? Didn't he ask you?
No. I came up there to debate him on why he thinks promiscuity is morally wrong.
I remember
I asked him to name one reason why promiscuity is morally wrong.
He was asking you
What
how
did
is
he
it
answer?
beneficial to society. You couldn't answer that. You couldn't answer.
So I just want to clarify. No, that wasn't what he was asking me. He was asking me about my meta-ethical view. But you think if something's not beneficial to society, it's therefore wrong?
Whoa.
How's avocado toast beneficial to
I
society?
mean, first of all, he's a Christian, so he goes
Right.
against
So I just want to get this clear. Yes or
He
no?
goes-
Can you name one reason that he gave me insofar as why promiscuity is morally wrong? Understanding that was
Well,
the
he
one
goes
question I
against
asked
his
him over
Christian
30 minutes.
morals. I know that at the time.
Wait. He didn't say that. What is one reason he gave me?
I don't know. I watched the debate 3 months ago.
So nothing exactly. So
Well,
like
so he
I
didn't-
hate it.
hold on.
Wait. Let me speak.
Wait,
Let me
he
speak.
didn't
Let the real man talk. Let the real man just give me his mind, bro. I fucking think it is so absolutely atrociously embarrassing. And
They both got banned.